الحمد لله رب العالمين حمدا كثيرا طيبا مباركا فيه كما ينبغي لجلال وجهه ولعظيم سلطانه كما تحب وترضى، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا وسندنا ومولانا وتاج رؤوسنا وطبيب قلوبنا محمد المصطفى صلى الله تعالى عليه وسلم وآله وصحبه أجمعين ومن تبعه بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. سبحانك لا فهم لنا إلا ما فهمتنا إنك أنت الجواد الكريم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي وأفوض أمري إلى الله إن الله بصير بالعباد. اللهم صل صلاة كاملة وسلم سلاما تاما على سيدنا محمد الذي تنحل به العقد وتنفرج به الكرب وتقضى به الحوائج وتنال به الرغائب وحسن الخواتم ويستسقى الغمام بوجهه الكريم وعلى آله وصحبه في كل لمحة ونفس بعدد كل معلوم لك. اللهم إنا نسألك الهدى والتقى والعفاف والغنى. اللهم إنا نسألك موجبات رحمتك يا حي يا قيوم يا ذا الجلال والإكرام يا قدوس يا سلام. اللهم إنا نسألك علما نافعا وقلبا خاشعا ولسانا ذاكرا وشاكرا وتوبة نصوحا. رب يسر ولا تعسر، رب تمم بالخير، رب زدني علما وفهما وألحقنا بالصالحين. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. أما بعد، السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. My dear sisters and very dear brothers, and all those who are watching and joined our class for this evening, for our FIQH class, where we will continue inshallah from where we have left off last week. And tonight we will, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, continue for about 40 minutes or so. We will try to finish on time to the best of our ability, if we can finish on time, that is. The reason why we started, as we said earlier, last week also, because the daylight savings have started and the beginning of our class clashes with the Maghrib time in Melbourne. And inshallah ta'ala, we will normally do our Maghrib and join the class immediately. We will do this until Maghrib is over 8 o'clock. Then we will start on time again and perhaps finish 5 or 10 minutes after Maghrib enters, so we don't miss out on much of our class. Let's continue with our notes from last week, so that firstly a few minutes of refreshing our minds on some terminology, because this terminology is very important for this particular lesson for tonight. In terms of Salat, a person who's praying his Salat alone without joining the Jama'ah or in kind, just an individual person praying on his own, is called Munfarid. Munfarid, very easy. The one who follows an Imam from the beginning to the end is called a Muqtadi, or a person who joins the Imam during his Salat with the Imam is called Muqtadi. However, in terms of a person who's praying behind an Imam, there are three possibilities. One is Mudrik, the one who follows the Imam from the start to the finish of Salat in Jama'ah with the Imam. This is called a Mudrik. The person who comes late to Salat, any time after the first ruku', he he who or she who joins the jama'ah is called masbuq. This person, after Imam gives salams, has to get up and complete the missing rak'ats that he has missed. He has to complete those missing units of salat after Imam gives salams. And lahiq is the one who joins the jama'ah from its beginning, but for some reason he misses out one or more rak'ats in the middle or towards the end of prayer due to a valid excuse. And inshallah we will discuss or continue to discuss, because we started last week on all of these, and we actually stopped at this page, I believe. Joining the prayer late, the conditions of masbuq. If someone joins the jama'ah late after the first ruku', so to speak, he's considered as a masbuq, and he must begin from the beginning of the salat when he gets up. Yeah? So if someone joins the jama'ah, he is considered that he began from the rukun, pillar, in which the imam is engaged in. So if he comes to the salat, if the imam is in one of the rukun like qira'ah, or one of the rukun like sajda, or the ruku', he should join in that particular point as quickly as possible. If, for example, if one joins while the imam is in ruku', then he will be considered to have joined the imam for the entire rak'at, even though one missed on the qiyam and the qira'ah. If one should join after the imam has given takbir for rising from the ruku', however, one will have missed that rak'at. He has to catch that particular ruku' to be included in that rak'at, despite the fact that he missed the standing qiyam or the qira'ah. So, when the imam completes the salat by giving salams, the latecomer will rise up or get up and complete whatever remains of his prayer. Masbuq. There are two basic principles to be followed by a masbuq when completing prayer on his own, as follows. With regard to qira'ah first, whatever remains of the masbuq, his prayer, should be performed as if it is from the beginning. I will give an example in a few seconds, inshallah. And with regard to qa'da, sitting, tashahhud, when and which is the end of the prayer that will determine that matter. In other words, where he joined the salat. When the imam completes his salams, when the masbuq rises up to do his own prayer, complete his own prayer, right at the beginning, he should start as if he's starting a fresh salat, but he's still within the salat, with thana, subhanaka, a'udhu basmala, so to speak. Further, if the masbuq has performed with the imam one rakat of fajr, fajr is 2 rakats, 2 rakats of maghrib, which is 3 rakats, or 3 rakats of any salat in which there are 4 rakats, then in performing the final rakat alone, when he gets up, he will start from the beginning, like Subhanaka, Thana, A'udhu Basmala, and Surah Al-Fatiha, and continue. If one has performed with the Imam 1 rakat of Maghrib, or 2 of a prayer in which there are 4 rakats, then in each of the final 2 rakats, one will recite the Fatiha and another surah. In other words, you caught in the third rakat of the Salat with the Imam just read Fatiha. In other words, you have missed a Fatiha and a surah, the one that Imam has read already. So when you get up to complete your Salat, you need to, in those 2 rakats that you missed, you need to start with the Thana and Ta'awudh and Basmala and Surah Al-Fatiha and additional surah in the first rakat. In the second rakat, you are making up just Surah Al-Fatiha and another surah, because you already done the last 2 rakats with the Imam in a 4 rakat Salat. If you have performed with the Imam only 1 rakat of Salat in which there are 4 rakats, then in the first 2 of the 3 rakats, he will perform alone. Yes, he will recite the Fatiha and another surah in the first one, but in the last rak'ah he will recite only Surah Al-Fatiha. An example should serve to illustrate the principle having to do with sitting, qa'da, in the prayer of a masbuq person. If a latecomer to the congregational prayer, Jamaat Salat, makes 1 rakat of Maghrib with the Imam, 1 rakat of Maghrib with the Imam, he will sit for what will be the Imam's last rakat, last qa'da. Afterwards, when completing Salat alone, when he gets up to complete his Salat, the latecomer will have to make 2 qa'das. This is the most confusing for most people, because if you just joined in the last rakat, yes, you have only done 1 rakat. So you need to do another rakat so that it's your second rakat. That means you effectively, after giving salams, Imam, you got up and did your second rakat, and you must immediately after that one, you prayed only 1 on your own, you must do qa'da. And of course get up and complete the Salat, you have another qa'da. In other words, 2 qa'das. With the Imam, 3 qa'das. If the masbuq to the Salat had not known this particular principle, he thinks that he prayed 1 rakat with the Imam, therefore he will get up and do additional 2 rakats, since the Maghrib Salat has 2 qa'das, of which one has already been performed with the Imam, there should remain only 1 more qa'da. This is a mistake. This is wrong. Now, I will give several more rules in relation to both muqtadi and masbuq, inshallah ta'ala. If the muqtadi cannot complete his tasbihat in ruku' or sujood, because he likes to say it slowly, he wants to enjoy when he's doing it, when praying behind an Imam, of course, he should just follow the Imam. He should not lag behind the Imam, where Imam already said Sami Allahu liman hamida Rabbana lakal hamd, is about to go to a sajda, the person, you are still doing your tasbihat in ruku'. This should not be so. You must follow the Imam. You should not lag behind. Similarly in Sajda. You like to have long Sajda tasbihat. Subhana Rabbiyal A'la. Subhana Rabbiyal A'la. Imam already gone to second Sajda. You're not allowed to do this. In your own free time, when you're praying as munfaridan, when you're praying alone, your sunnah or nawafil, you can make as long as possible. We spoke about before. But when you're following the Imam, you must follow the Imam. If the muqtadi were to come out of ruku' or to lift his head from the sajda by mistake before the Imam, he made a mistake. Maybe he did not hear. He thought that Imam got up from sajda or ruku'. He got up and he realized that what he's made is a mistake. He immediately goes back to that ruku' or goes back to that sajda and continue following the Imam. Nothing happens to your salat. If, however, if he were to do a second sajda, not the first sajda, second sajda, he went to sajda by putting his head down before the Imam. He's in a hurry for some reason. He went to sajda before the Imam, he put his head down. Second sajda. In the first sajda he made a mistake. He immediately got up and waited for the Imam. But in the second sajda he made this action again. In other words, not forgettingly or anything as such, but he went before the Imam to sajda. His salat is nullified, void, breaks. There are 5 places where the muqtadi will follow the Imam regardless if the Imam were to omit certain actions normally done within salat, but Imam has omitted certain actions which are not fard, of course. The jama'ah will follow regardless. So if you're a muqtadi, if you're praying behind Imam, if the Imam does the following 5 things, you need to just follow the Imam. Forget about anything else. If the Imam fails to do takbirat within 8 salats, you went to Salat al-Eid and there are certain takbirat that you must do, additional takbirat you must do, you did not, or the Imam did not, then you just follow the Imam. Just follow the Imam. Maybe he has forgotten it in the second rakat or the first rakat, doesn't matter. You just follow the Imam. If the Imam fails to sit for the qa'da ula, he's supposed to sit for the second rakat of a 3 rakat salat or a 4 rakat salat, he got up he made a mistake. And you also got up. Don't worry, you just follow the Imam. He will do sajdat al-sahw at the back, at the end, and he will save the salat. This is for qa'da ula. Qa'da ula. The first sitting, of course. Third place where the muqtadi will follow the Imam regardless. If the Imam fails to perform sajdat al-tilawah, he was reading certain pages of the Quran where there is a sajda ayah where he's supposed to go and make sajda and come back and continue with the salat. Sajda al-tilawah is made where at the end of the ayah, usually when the person, where Imam is leading, when it comes to that, when he's reading loud, of course, yes, when he's reading loud, and everybody knows that he is supposed to make Sahaja tilawah at the end of that ayah, but the Imam did not do it. yes, you still continue with the Imam. But if the Imam were to do it, how does he do it? Sajdatul Tilawa, in the middle of while standing up, he came to one particular ayah. At the end of that ayah where there is sajda, he just pauses his recitation. He goes immediately to sajda, perform one sajda, only one, and immediately get up again and continue from the place that he paused and until the end of the surah, until the end of the section that he's going to read, then continue to ruku' and sujood like a normal salat. Sajdatul Tilawa. There are 14 places in the Quran where Sajdatul Tilawa is performed. Usually, in order to not to confuse the Jama'ah who's not used to praying behind an Imam who does Sajdatul Tilawa like this, normally the Imams in Ḥanafī school will, if they forgot or they regard if the Sajdatul Tilawa is the last ayah that they've recited for that particular rak'at, that qiyam, that qira'ah, they will not go up and go down, make sajda and come back up again, then go to ruku'. No, they will not do this. They will say the ruku' of that particular salat is sufficient as performing that particular Sajdatul Tilawa. A classic example is Surah Al-Alaq. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Iqra' bismi rabbika alladhi khalaq. خلق الإنسان من علق إلى آخر السورة. Right at the end of the surah there is a sajda ayah. So the Imam who stops and goes to ruku' at that time in Ḥanafī school, when he goes to ruku' and did not do any sajdatul tilawa, this will be regarded as sajdatul tilawa for him and for the Jama'ah. If the Imam fails to perform sajdatul sahw, as we know, the reason for sajdatul sahw is when the Imam or the munfarid or the Imam in Jama'ah, they forget to perform perhaps one of the wajib components. They made a mistake. Example is, instead of sitting for qada ula, he did not, he got up, he's supposed to do sajdatul sahw, but he forgot to do sajdatul sahw, the Imam, and Jama'ah just followed him. So, just follow the Imam. Whatever the Imam does in that regard, you just follow. And if the Imam fails to read Dua al-Qunut, in Ḥanafī school, in Salat al-Witr, on the third rak'at, in the third rak'at, you read Surah al-Fatiha and another surah, then you raise your hands up, say Allahu Akbar, and put them back and read Dua Qunut, which according to Ḥanafī school is Allahumma inna nasta'inuka wa nastaghfiruka wa nastahdik wa nu'minu bika wa natubu ilayk wa natawakkalu alayka wa nuthni alayka al-khayra kullahu nashkuruka wa la nakfuruk wa nakhla'u wa natruku man yafjuruk. اللهم إياك نعبد ولك نصلي ونسجد وإليك نسعى ونحفد نرجو رحمتك ونخشى عذابك إن عذابك بالكفار ملحق. This is the Dua Qunut in the Ḥanafī school. Imam Shafi and the Shafi school has a different Qunut, still of course accepted, sah, there is no problem with it. But if the Imam when we're praying Salatul Taraweeh, after Salatul Taraweeh, we pray witr together. Yes, he forgot to make this Qunut Takbir and he went to ruku and he completely forgot. Yes, you just follow the Imam. If you're going to miss out Dua Qunut, so be it. So these are the 5 conditions where the muqtadi will follow suit with the Imam, regardless if any of these actions were missed out. Because remember, Sajdatul Sahw is made if in the absence of, by mistake, omitting a wajib component. It is not fard, one of the rukuns. If the rukun is neglected, of course salat is gone. However, there are 4 places or the things in which the muqtadi will not follow the imam if the imam were to do it. There are 4 things, if the imam were to do them, the muqtadi will not follow the imam. In other words, muqtadi will do it himself. If, for example, the first one, if the imam deliberately adds an extra sajda to the salat, no. So his sajda is only 2. So he likes, he wants to add, this is bid'ah, this is haram to do so. So if he were to add an additional, maybe imam has forgotten, keep on doing sajda, he cannot count 1, 2, 3. So the muqtadi, the follower within the salat, does not follow suit with the imam. If the imam adds extra takbirat, remember in the above, he forgot to say the takbirat, but you followed him. But he did the takbirat, but he adds more takbirat because he's, mashallah, he wants to do more takbirat. You are not allowed to follow the imam and have those extra takbirat, because Eid Salat is set, and our imams have told us how to pray Salatul Eid. You can't add additional takbirat like adding additional sajda to a salat. If the imam adds 5th takbir in Salatul Janazah, Salatul Janazah consists of 4 takbirat, and there is no rak'ats in it. It's not just a single rak'at by standing. It's a dua basically. And after the 4th rak'at, the imam is supposed to give salams. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, in Ḥanafī school. But if the imam added another takbir on top of the 4 takbirs, which is part of salat, the jama'ah, the muqtadi, the follower, will not follow the imam in that additional takbir. If the imam in a 4 rakat salat by mistake gets up for the 5th rakat, this happens quite often. The imam confuses whether he prayed 2 rakats or 4 rakats because he was thinking something else, maybe old age. The muqtadi will not follow the imam if he gets up for the 5th rakat. He just remains. Usually people behind the imam, if imam makes such a mistake, they will remind him. They say subhanallah, subhanallah. They will say subhanallah. So reminding the imam that he just made a mistake. So they will remind the imam. Imam should immediately come down, and instead of doing another additional rakat. In the case of female jamaat behind the imam, when the imam makes such a mistake, like he gets up for the 5th rakat, so to speak, the ladies will not say subhanallah. In the Ḥanafī school, the voice of a female is awra, and therefore while she's doing this, she'll clap her hand, so the imam will understand that he has made a mistake. He'll come back to his senses and sit down immediately and finish off the salat. There are 9 things, if the imam were to fail to do them, the muqtadi will do them regardless on his own. So if the imam did not do it, by mistake or deliberately, doesn't matter, the muqtadi, the person who's following the imam, he will do. What are they? If the imam does not raise his hands for the opening takbir, yes, Takbir tahrimi, the first takbir, to say the takbir is fard. One of the arkan, one of the rukun of salat. Without the takbir there is salat, you cannot enter into salat. But he did not raise his hands are on the side. I have seen this quite often, actually. In Coburg Mosque, Coburg Masjid, in my masjid, perhaps 10-12 years ago, there was a group of students who came to do their PhDs and masters, so to speak, from Oman. And Oman has two groups of schools. One is called Zaydiyya. They are one of the branches of Shia. And the other was Ibadiyya. Ibadiyya. These Ibadiyya are last remnants of the Khawarij, who are very close to Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah. They do pray and they're very diligent in their salat, and we're allowed to pray behind them, and we're allowed to marry their daughters, and they can marry our daughters. So some of the ulama, like Wahb Zuhaili and others, when they are explaining fiqh rules, they will also include these people, Ibadiyya. But one thing with the Ibadiyya, when they are praying salat, when they come into the salat, to begin to do their salat, they say Allahu Akbar, but they don't raise their hands like we do. So if the Imam happened to be an Ibadiyya Imam, and he does not raise his hands to say when he's saying Allahu Akbar, you have to say it. Allahu Akbar, you have to say it. If the Imam fails to recite the Subhanaka, Thana, because Hanafi school starts with Subhanaka Allahumma wa bihamdik wa tabarak asmak wa ta'ala jadduk wa la ilaha ghayruk. In Shafi school, it's a different Thana. If whatever the condition is, Imam did not immediately started with Fatiha, you must recite the Thana on your own. Third, if the Imam fails to say Takbir before going to Ruku', you just went to Ruku' without saying Takbir. It is not fard to say Takbir when you go into Ruku'. Yes? It's not one of the Rukun, one of the Arkan of Salat. But you must say it yourself. Not loud like the Imam or anything as such. Say Allahu Akbar. You must. Same thing with the sujood. If the Imam does not say Allahu Akbar each time he goes to sujood, sajda, you must say them yourself. Allahu Akbar. You can see the Imam what he's doing, but he does not say Allahu Akbar for some reason. Yeah? You must say the takbirat before, this is the takbir for each sajda or the sujood that you're going to do. If the Imam fails to say tasbihat for the ruku or sujood, you must say them. When he goes to ruku, when we go to ruku, Subhana Rabbi al-Azim 3 times, we normally say. In the Shafi school, Subhanallah, Subhan Rabbi al-Azim wa bihamdi. Yes? If the Imam fails to do this, you must do it yourself. But how do you know if the Imam says it or not? He does it so quickly, ruku'. So you don't know whether he says it or not. So you must do your tasbihat in both ruku' as well as in sujood. If the Imam fails to say the tasmi', in other words, Sami'a Allahu liman hamida, when he is getting up from ruku', you must say Sami'a Allahu liman hamida if he failed to do so. But if he said it, you can only say Rabbana lakal hamd in Fard Salat. But outside the Fard Salat, when you're praying, when you say Sami'a Allahu liman hamida to yourself, you say additional things, Rabbana wa lakal hamd, حمدا كثيرا طيبا مباركا فيه. You can say these in nawafil or sunan salat, but when it comes to fard, ربنا لك الحمد. The Ahnaf, the Hanafis are very particular. They don't even allow you to say that additional wow. ربنا ولك الحمد. They say ربنا. They say you must say ربنا لك الحمد, not ولك الحمد. But in your sunnah, you can say ولك الحمد, no problem. If the Imam fails to recite the tashahhud, he didn't recite التحيات لله والصلوات والطيبات السلام عليك أيها النبي ورحمة الله وبركاته السلام علينا وعلى عباد الله الصالحين أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. But without reciting the tashahhud, he immediately went to the Salli Barik in the du'as. Even if he fails in his tashahhud, you need to read your tashahhud. But he has fulfilled the requirement of sitting that duration where you can say the tashahhud, which is called qa'da akhirah, which is the fard component. If the Imam fails to give salams at the conclusion of salat, some of the Shia brethren, they hit their thighs. They do 2-3 times like this, and that's their salam. They don't give a salam alaikum wa rahmatullah, salam alaikum wa rahmatullah. If the Imam is a Ja'fari or Zaydi amongst the Shia that you can pray behind, no problem. But if he fails to give salams, and you give assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah to yourself on your own. Or if the Imam is a Maliki, for example, they give salam to only one side, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, they say, and finished. They can get out of the salat. But in your case, you give both salams to yourself. The additional, the left salam, you must give, inshallah ta'ala. And number 9, if the Imam fails to say Takbirat al-Tashriq after each fard salat, you must say them yourself. What is Takbirat al-Tashriq? This happens every Eid, starting with the Fajr Salat of Yawmul Arafah. Yawmul Arafah. When the Hajj starts, Yawmul Arafah, when the Hujjaj go to Arafat, the plains of Arafat from Mina, it starts in Mina with the Fajr, the last Fajr of Mina, which is Yawmul Arafah. After giving salam, before any tasbihat, the person must say Allahu Akbar, La ilaha illallah, Huwa Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Walillahi alhamd. You can say up to 3 times. But of course, this is the Ḥanafī takbirat, tashriq takbirat. Amongst the Imam Shafi'i followers, they add 3 Allahu Akbars at the beginning. The Ahnaf has 2. So this is wajib to do so, starting from the Fajr of Yawm al-Arafah until the 4th day of Eid al-Adha, completed with the fard of Asr. So that's the last one that you say, because Maghrib is a new day. Eid is finished, so to speak. So if the Imam fails to do Takbirat al-Tashriq, which I remember for many years, the Al-Hajj, whoever is leading the Salat will not say the Takbirat al-Tashriq. So we used to do it ourselves. And you also, if you're praying behind an Imam anywhere on that particular day, starting with the Fajr of Yawm al-Arafah in Melbourne or in another city, And if the Imam fails, you're supposed to, Imam used to say it, not too loud and not too soft, so that you know that you also follow him together in a softer voice, making these takbirat. And these are called takbirat al-tashriq. And if the Imam fails in doing this, Jama'ah munfaridan must do this. According to Aimay Thalatha, the other Imams, this must be done, wajib to do so, munfaridan, including the Imam. But Imam, if the Imam does it, according to Imam Abu Hanifa, one view that the munfaridan, it is not wajib for the person who is praying behind the Imam. After finished, the Imam did say it, but you did not say it. This is not a responsibility for you any longer. In relation to, these are the 9 places where you do your own thing if Imam fails to do so. In relation to a masbuk, a latecomer to the Salat, who have missed the first ruku', so to speak, he should only read the tashahhud and no other du'as, and wait silently, and after the Imam gives both salams, to complete his salat or the jama'ah salat. And in addition, he has to make sure for few seconds that the Imam is completely finished and not going to make Sajadah al-Sahw. Only then the masbuk should get up and complete the rest of the missed salat. In Ḥanafī school again, so you are sitting and waiting for Imam to give salam so you can get up and continue with the salat. You're a masbuk. You recite at-tahiyyatu slowly, doesn't have to rush, but you can read only at-tahiyyatu, and you after shahada, you just wait silently. Silently, you don't read any other du'as or salawat at all. And when the Imam gives his salam, there are 2 possibilities. One is that Imam, when you were not there, made a mistake. He left one of the wajibat, and he's going to make Sajadah al-Sahw. Well and good, you need to wait until you have to ascertain and determine that Imam is not going to do Sajadah al-Sahw. If he does Sajadah al-Sahw, you must join the Imam first before you get up to complete your salat. And to make sure that Imam does not do Sajadah al-Sahw, because he had to, if he's going to do Sajadah al-Sahw, you must give some time for Imam. Do not get up immediately. In other words, when the Imam says Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, you don't get up immediately. You just wait and determine that Imam has actually finished. How? Maybe Imam just turned his face towards the Jama'ah, or he just turns his chest away from the Jama'ah, or he did something which is not part of the salat. In other words, to show you, indicate to you that his salat is complete, Jama'ah salat is complete. So this could be a second or 2, not too much, second or 2. You don't wait for 10 minutes before the Imam turns or anything as such. No, you just, instead of getting up immediately, because there is a chance that you might miss Sajadah al-Sahw. So you need to make sure that a few seconds that Imam is completely finished and not going to make Sajadah al-Sahw. If the masbuk by mistake gives salams before the Imam, or with the Imam, by mistake, the operative word here is by mistake. Because you can't hear, maybe you're at the back and you're the large Jama'ah, and you've got hearing problem perhaps, you could not see the Imam. Before the Imam you say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, then Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, the Imam begin to give salams. You by mistake. Or with the Imam, again by mistake. You're not supposed to. You're supposed to get up and complete your Salat. You're a masbooq. There is no need for the masbooq to make sajdat al-sahw at the end. However, if he, again by mistake, gives salams after Imam has completed his sajdat al-sahw, he completed his salams by mistake, but after Imam has completed his salam, so it takes time before it clicks on a person whether to get up and complete his salat or not, but he, by mistake, he made salam with the Imam, by mistake, nothing happens. But after Imam has finished and you're supposed to get up but did not get up, but you made salams afterwards, at the end of his salat, he has to make sajdat al-sahw. If these are all by mistake, if however you deliberately knew what you're doing and joined the salam of the Imam or after the Imam gave salams, without completing your remaining rak'ats, your salat will be void, nullified. You have to redo that salat. If the masbooq, by mistake, without waiting for the Imam who had to make sajdat al-sahw, were to get up, he should immediately come down and do the sajdat al-sahw with the Imam. However, if he got up and continued with the rak'ats he has missed, then he is not required to make sajdat al-sahw that he missed with the Imam. He continued by mistake. He got up and reading, and the Imam decided to have sajdat al-sahw. Remember, part of the sajdat al-sahw rules, if you forgot to make sajdat al-sahw but you gave salams and realized that your chest still has not moved and you have not spoken any worldly words, you can still go to sajdat al-sahw. You do not move. When the masbooq rises up to complete the remaining rak'ats of his salat, he shall be regarded as munfarid, a lone prayer. In other words, he cannot lead anybody as an Imam or follow anybody. What do you mean? This happens in multi-madhab masajid. For example, somebody in Shafi school can come and touch your shoulder and you become Imam in Shafi school. And they stand behind, when they touch your shoulder, meaning they are informing you that they're going to follow you. But if you are a masbooq and you're completing the remaining salat, you are munfarid, you're just individual. You're not following the Imam any longer. So if somebody comes and touches your shoulder in Ḥanafī school, you cannot be an Imam, or you cannot, just the person in front of you who's also a masbooq or something, touch his shoulder and follow him. Not possible. If somebody touches your shoulder, doesn't know what madhab you follow to, in that regard, There is one way that you put, when your hands are there, you put your hand to the side and say, when you put, making an ishara, making a sign, saying that don't follow me. Okay? Another point. If the Imam remembers a missed sajda tilawah, remember? Sajda tilawah, not sajda sahw, and tries to make qada of that missed sajda tilawah. He has not completed the salat. He just wants to do that additional tilawah sajda that everybody knows. And if the masbuq already got up to complete his salat, then if he has not completed that rak'ah, in other words, he did not go into the second rak'ah, so to speak, complete, he should abandon what he is doing, his salat, immediately join the Imam in doing that sajda tilawah with him, with the jama'ah, so to speak. And thereafter get up and complete the missed rakats as per usual. If, however, as per above, we just explained, the masbuq does not rejoin the Imam for sajdatul tilawah immediately and continues, but rejoins the Imam in sajdatul tilawah after the completion of that rak'at that he prayed, it's too late, or does not join the Imam in sajdatul tilawah altogether. He's supposed to join, but he did not in the first place. In other words, while he was getting up, he realized that Imam is doing sajdatul tilawah. He did not come down and join them. The salat of that masbuq will be void. He has to redo his salat. He has to redo his salat. It's nullified. Under 5 circumstances, a masbuq can get up to complete his missed rak'ats after reading the tashahhud, but without waiting for the Imam to give salams. This is a completely different, you never heard of this. But this is our fiqh. So, we're supposed to get up to complete our salat after Imam gives salams, but under 5 conditions, the person praying, masbuq, so to speak, does not have to wait for the Imam to complete the salams. How? How many? 5 circumstances, 5 places. First, if there's a genuine fear in the heart of the masbuq, if he were to wait for the Imam to complete the salat, but he has already read his tashahhud, by the way, the fard component, the qa'dah, sitting for that duration, he read the tashahhud. If he feels that the time that he has for his khuffain, the leather socks that he made wudu with, is going to expire, and in the middle of the salat, his wudu will be gone. In that case, he should get up and complete his rakats quickly before the expiry of the khuffain time. We talked about the khufs, the leather socks, before in wudu section, Kitab al-Tahara. So you can go back and have a look at there, inshallah, for the conditions. The second circumstance in which the masbuq can get up to complete his missed rakats before the Imam gives salam, so to speak, but after the tashahhud, of course, is when, if he is a ma'adhur, a legally excused person where certain limits apply to the duration of his wudu. Ma'udhur means a person with udhur, shari'i udhur. A person who cannot, for some sickness, for some disease, for some health condition, illness, he's not allowed to have an extended wudu time. He only has to pray within that waqt. For example, dhuhr entered, a ma'udhur person can make wudu, regardless of his condition. If everything's oozing out, he breaks his wudu, whatever the case is, he can make wudu and he can pray only dhuhr in that time, dhuhr time. But comes the asr time, he has to renew his wudu, fresh wudu, and to do asr salat. Comes the maghrib time, he has to renew his wudu and do his maghrib, so on and so forth. So a person of this caliber, the Sharia, there's somebody who certifies him as an excused person. Yeah, if this ma'udhur person genuinely fears, if he were to wait for the Imam to read all the du'as and salawat, and he's going to miss out on that salat, therefore after tashahhud he gets up and continues without waiting for the Imam to give salams to complete the salat. For example, Fajr salat, right? The Jama'ah has left the salat to the last minute. There is only a few more minutes left before the sun rises, and if he were to wait, so to speak, he's going to miss out in completing his Fajr salat. Therefore he does this, a ma'udhur. Number 3, if he fears that the waqt is going to expire of Salatul Jum'ah with the entry of Asr time, because Salatul Jum'ah can be prayed from Dhuhr until Asr time, depending on certain circumstances. If Asr is about to enter, and you came 1 rakat late to Salatul Jum'ah, and you need to get up and complete your second rakat, so to speak, then you need to get up after completion of tashahhud without waiting for the Imam to get up and complete your Salatul Jum'ah, because otherwise Asr is going to come in according to the calendar, according to time. Or Salatul Eid with the entry of Zuhur time, same rule applies. Or fear of expiry of Salatul Fajr with the rising of the sun. Under these circumstances, the masbuq can get up and complete his salat without waiting for the Imam to give salams. The 4th, if he genuinely fears that he's going to break his wudu, he's got some IBS issues. If he were to wait for the Imam to give salams, Imam's mashallah, takes his sweet time to do it, read the du'as, he can also get up and finish. Otherwise, in the middle of the salat, he's going to break his wudu. He knows. And number 5, if he fears that in a large jama'ah, when he does not get up to complete his salat, because he's masbuq, the people are going to walk in front of him. So there is so much jama'ah, people don't know whether you're praying or not. They start walking in front of you, which can cause damage to your salat. Therefore, you immediately get up and people actually see you. But if you are sitting, it's going to be more difficult for people to recognize that you're praying. And in any case, we will talk about sutra issues later on, that you can actually pray behind a pillar or in the jama'ah that you join, or there's making sure that people do not pass in front of you. And if you genuinely fear that this is going to be chaos because you're praying on the street, for example, and it's a public walking place, and traffic is going to start, and your salat is going to be, it's going to be impossible to make sajda in that duration, and ruku in that duration. In that case, you get up just before the Imam gives salams, after you performed your tashahhud, at-tahiyyat, inshallah ta'ala. I think we should finish here. We will continue with the issues relating to qada salat, but I want to touch upon the lahiq. Although it is not a common practice amongst the Muslims of today, but nonetheless it is good to know a person who started salat on time with the Imam in the Jama'ah, but his wudu broke, so to speak. He went and made wudu, and he can come back and rejoin the salat in the middle of the salat, behind the Imam. So we are going to look at the conditions of lahiq next week, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, and inshallah we will continue with our journey after that with qada, making up salat. There are conditions. We will look at the concept of sahib al-tartib, a person who misses out salat, although that person never had any missed salats before. He's complete in the salat. For some circumstances, he missed certain number of salats. There are conditions apply, and there is a person who has many, perhaps days or more than 6 times of a missed salat, qada salat, and the conditions, how does that apply, and how do we perform qada, even years of missed salat, how do we make up according to Ḥanafī school? We will look at this inshallah ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put barakah into our lives. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala include our names amongst Ahlul Salat. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala include our names amongst Ahlul La ilaha illallah. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala increase our beneficial knowledge. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala remove the pandemic from the humanity that we're going through, the lockdowns and what have you. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give shifa to those who are suffering from coronavirus or any other illness within your family. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have mercy upon us all, inshallah ta'ala. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت وحدك لا شريك لك نستغفرك ونتوب إليك لله تعالى الفاتحة. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله.